Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about color palettes. So with that said, let's do this. Alright, so welcome back. In this video we're going to go over color palettes. We're still using the Nerdy Nights website as our resources, but I decided just to keep this video into one single subject, and I'll have the sprites from this week and next week, multiple sprites into one single video. So with that said, let's go over color palettes. And so let's go over this part first, and then I'll run the emulator just to give you a better visual representation of what it actually does. So color palettes, that's pretty much how you display the colors on the NES. So let's just go over what it says over here. So before I put any graphics into the screen, first we need to set our color palettes, or color palette. There are two separate palettes. Each are 16 bytes, and one palette is used for the background, and another palette is used for the sprites. So the background is unmovable objects, and if it actually moves, it's a sprite. And both of them has a different color palette, so a different values. Actually, there's 4 color palettes for each, so there's 16 color palettes for the background and 16 for the sprite. Well, kind of. I'm gonna go over it. And the bytes in the palette correspond to one of the 64 base colors for the NES you can display. You also have it over here. And all these values are in hex. And something that you have to keep in mind, all this color is not going to be the same as you're seeing over here. Depending on the TV, this red might not be actually red. Well, it will be red, but not exactly the same red. This is not RGB color, which it can give you the exact same values that it look like, but it's pretty close what we will look like. So let me go back over here. And another thing that I have to keep in mind, that 0D is a bad color and it should not be used. And I have here open under the nestab.wic the main cause of it. And the 0D hex value causes the signal to drop below normal black levels. So you're going to read sometimes it's pretty much darker than black, or black than blacker. So it's a level that's going to drop on. So we have this wave signal that's coming from our TV is going to go way below black. And the low voltage signal sometimes may be mistaken by a blank signal, which can cause unstable pictures, losses, in some devices. Some devices can process without a problem. So as I was saying, like all this TV, all these colors are not going to be the same depending on your TV. So is the 0D. So depending on the TV, I believe the Sony Bravia, I think this is the old TV that I used to have, the Bravia, or I don't remember, but the old Sony TVs, the big ones, they had an issue with the 0D being displayed. And here are all the games that does actually use the value 0D over here. So you have, for example, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles actually use that for the backgrounds or the sprites and stuff like that. So here's the effects that can happen. So some blacks, different appear the same black as others. Blacks on this TV color, it's gonna look the same. It's all gonna be black regardless of the day. Some TVs might be slightly darker than other blacks. Some recognize the range as it appears. So brightening other colors, wobbling, distorting picture loss. So instead of just avoid the headache and just use any other blacks, it's gonna look fine. So the only thing that I have to keep in mind. And just to demonstrate it further, I'm gonna run the emulator and show you the colored palettes in action. All right, so let's show you guys what a palette is, and our color palettes and all of this. All you need to do is open any game you like. Here I have Mega Man. Go under debug and go under the PPU viewer. And go under the palette viewer. Let me increase this times 2 so it's a little bit more visible. And here are our palettes. Let me just go over Electro Man over here. And here are our pallets. So we have 2 pallets, like I said before, 16 colors. So 4 times 4 is 16 for the background, 4 times 4 is 16 for the sprites. And the background is something that's not movable, and something that does move is the sprite. Of course, you can just check here in the sprite viewer, and you come over here. I'm going over this arrow over here, under the sprites over here. And as you see, each of these sprites, like I have over here for this face over here, you use pallet 1. And pallet 1 is somewhere over here. Oh. Does it say over here? No. So this is pallet 1, this is pallet 0, this is pallet 3, this is pallet 2. So what do you mean is pallet 0, 1? That's each 4 rows over here corresponds to 1 pallet. So this is pallet 0. I believe this is pallet 0. So let's double check. So 0 is black. Yep, so this is 0. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So each of these rows corresponds to 1 pallet. And that is because each sprite that you have over here, if you see like this helmet for this guy, is a sprite. So each tile that I have over here can only have 1 pallet of this 4 over here. So I'm gonna assign one of this 4 row color to 1 sprite, and the same thing for the background. Essentially the same thing. So one of these rows over here is for the background. That's how I got multiple colors going on the NES. It's a form to conserve memory. So with this out of the way, if I want to just change, for example, Cutman over here, let me come over here. So palette 2, so here's Cutman. And then let's change this to this, instead of this red, magenta color, whatever that is. Let's give him a yellow color over here. Oh, it's going off the background, so let me change this background color as well. Let's give it a gray. So there's already blue. Let's give it this red color over here. And let's go back over here. So now he's a yellow. And as you see, as I'm changing this yellow over here, changing this color over here is also changing the color for the other guys, because all of the sprites only has 4 rows we can work with. So all of them are changing because all of them are using the same sprites. So for example, I can pretty much guess that this is the color for the fire. So let's give it a green fire over here. Not only change this fire over here, I change Electroman and I change Bomberman, because they have share the same values. So I can change this color to be any color I like. So white over here, instead of this blue, I can put on this dark black over here. And as you see, I'm changing this palettes and able to change the colors on the display. And yes, same thing with the background. And I think this is the background. No, so this is, as you see, I'm changing colors over here. And this are corresponding to the changes over here. So let me just show background a little bit further. Let me just get the game going so I can have a background. So ready, there's Mega Man, the colors changes. And you can change the colors over here. So let's make this a black. So as you see, changing the whole thing. And one thing that I'm gonna show you guys as well, as you see this color 0F over here. So let me just change this to, I don't know, let's go make it down. This is 0F. If I change this value, you're gonna see it's gonna change this value over here as well. And this as well. That is because this is a transparent color for the game. And let me see what else has the same colors over here. And transparent on the meaning, so let me do a quick demonstration. I have Photo P open, which is a Photoshop web version. And if I were to make this is all white. Color is all red, so it's going to be my transparent color. if I were to create a new folder over here, let me do this. Now I have this. Oh, okay. Switch this to black. So this is my black file over here. So let me turn this off. If I were to put this into a red over here and turn this on over here, there's really no difference. Because both of them are red, there's no really change over here. But if I were to change this red for this magenta color over here, as you see, there's a big difference over here. So now all the background doesn't match, so all of this is showing all the violet color that I have over here, this pink, violet, magenta color. So this is what corresponds to the transparency background color that I mentioned. Because, where's my palette viewer? Because this is gonna make sure the background is blended. So this is the transparency value, not on JPEG value, but it shares the same color. And some quick tip if you're planning to make your own game. As you see over here, some games have the artistic choice of having this outline over here. Some of them don't, so Mega Man has. So that means that since we can only use one roll over here, so it changes from, actually this is only the background color, so this is pretty much ignored. Well, not really ignored, but you know what I mean. And that means instead of 3 colors, you only have 2. But it makes the character stand up a little more. So if I were to change this to okay, it's a little bit too much. So if I were to change this for say, pink thing over here, you are really always clashing 2 different colors. So there's a strong color and all the other stuff that might makes it a little bit hard to distinguish. So when you make your game, you have to make this choice. Do I want to have this background over here so the character can pop up more, or can I leave history? Because there are other games like I think what let me some files. I think I have Castlevania over here, which actually you can see over here. This character uses, I'm going in there, CPU viewer. It actually uses 3 colors for the character right over here. So this is an artistic choice that we have. And that's, I think we cover what, we should have an idea by now what a palette in the color is for the NES. So let's just go over the code. So now I'm gonna go over the code, and I just copy and paste this, which you have right over here on the background. Right over here is the same code. So let me just go over it. So the first thing we have over here is load this value to 2002 hex, which you're just reading the PPU port over here to reset this latch to high to low. Because the 6502 is a little Indian, and you want to write into this big Indian, so this high byte to low byte. And the 6502 is a little Indian, so low to high. And both of this, as you see in this picture, both of them correspond to the same value. Since this byte 0 is all the way to the right, and since byte 0 is all the way to the left. So how it's stored and write on them are different. And to write on this port over here, this 2006, we're just making sure that we're writing first 3F and then 300. Actually, the tutorial says 10, so watch me just do this 10 over here. 310. So let me just compile and go over the code over here. So run test, compile code, run on emulator, PPU viewer over here. So the first thing, I'm gonna go over it together over here. So the first thing, I made sure I'm doing this high to low, so it's 3F10. And then I'm gonna write on this port over here 2006 hex to make sure that's the starting address for our pallets over here. And Then we're gonna load this value. So 32, we're gonna come over here, is a light blue. So somewhere over here. So this is the light blue over here. And then I'm gonna write that on the 2007 hex port to insert that code, this color palette right over here. So as you see over here, it has the location 3F10, which is the location right over here that begins our sprite 0 row right over here. So to 32, as you see over here, like you have over here, load that and start this PPU. Then the PPU automatically increase the counter. So it knows now it's on 3FF1. So all we need to do is load the value 14, which is this big pinkish. Store that again, starting this so this is the first, this is the second color on this row over here. Then it's going to increment one more time. This is the greenish 2A, as you see over here. And lastly, we have this 3F13 over here, this reddish. And I add this black right over here just to make sure it actually works. So all of this just incrementing, and this is going now to the row 1 for the sprites. And for example, if I wanted to start at location 3F, so as you see over here from 3F all the way to 0F is all the background color, and from 310, which you have over here, all the way to 1F are the sprites color. If I wanted to start right over here, 300, then I prefer to compile the code, and I can just do reload ROM over here. As you see, the colors that were over here, now it's over here because I started at 3F instead of 310. If I just started at 304, this color is going to shift down. So let's do that just to go over to demonstrate that it actually does work. So let's compile code and reload the ROM. Go back to the PPU viewer. As you see, these colors got shift down over here. So this is the location that you're trying to export, is the location where you're going to start writing and storing our pallets over here. And then we just load the value that we want from the colors that we have over here. And then we're going to just store them into this location 2007. It's a support. So it can be stored in our NES pallets over here. That's pretty much it. That's how you write our pallets to the NES. And if you go to the rest of the tutorials, you can just download this sprites.zip over here, which is right over here. You're gonna get this. This is like essentially the same thing. All we're doing is looping, so it makes our code a little bit easier. So this code, all of these colors over here, we'll go over the tutorial. So you could continue to do this reset palette. Fortunately, there's a smaller way to write the code. First, we put db, which is directive to store data bytes. So when I put this db over here, actually putting this, so let me just come over here. So here at bank 1 at location 000, the first defined byte, so I'm gonna put the byte 0f over here, and the next byte is gonna be 31 and 32 and so forth. So all of this is actually inside the cartridge. So then I'm gonna come over here. So this is our counter, our loop. So load pallet, which is this name, our label over here. So it's gonna come over here. Come over here. So this right now is 0. It's going to store that into the 2007 PPU, which is just like this. So we wrote into our palette. We start at 3F00, so right in the beginning, in the background. Then we increment this. So this is a 1. So now it's going to come right over here. And the loop is going to go forever until we reach the value 20 hex over here. So branch y not equals 0. So as soon as it hits 0, so both of these values over here are the same, stops and goes to the rest of this code, which is the sprites, which is going to cover next week. And this is pretty much it for the color palettes. And if you guys are enjoying this video, please feel free to subscribe and like this video. In the next video, I'm going to go over sprites. So I'm going to cover the rest of this. Sprites over here and multiple sprites. It's pretty much the same thing. Well, yeah, pretty much. Once you do this, it's pretty much like this. All this, just redoing a loop over here, so it makes things easier. And with that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.